Hi, back again. Looks like we lost connection there for a second. So I was just in the middle of going through this letter to the PGA Tour members. So I'm not sure where we got to before the stream got cut off, but I think there's some really key lines here. So PIF will make a financial investment to become a premier corporate sponsor of the PGA Tour. So that means, that again, going back to the Brandel Chambly thing, that line there makes his position completely untenable because he can't get away the fact now that the Saudi Arabian public investment fund that he's been so vocal about is now a financial investor in the PGA Tour and DP World Tour and other international tours. So that's obviously including the Asian Tour as well. PIF will make an additional investment in a new entity that will allow us to build an even stronger and more robust commercial business together. PIF is committed to significant financial support towards causes that positively impact the game on a global basis. So, there is, undeniable truth that, anyone who had a massive problem with the public investment fund of Saudi Arabia being the source of money for LIV, it is now, without doubt, in black and white there, it is now a investor and supplier of funds to the PGA Tour. So he finishes off by saying there is much work to do to get us from a framework agreement and to a definitive agreement. But one thing is obvious, through this transformational agreement and with PIF's collaborative investment, the immeasurable strength of the PGA Tour's history, legacy and pro-competitive model not only remains intact, but is supercharged for the future. Our game, our players, our fans will no doubt benefit for years to come. I will be on site at the RBC Canadian Open later today and would like to invite those in the field to a player meeting at 4 p.m. to help answer any questions you may have. I hadn't seen that. That is going to be one explosive meeting because there has been some rumblings to say that a lot of the players are not happy. They're probably not happy that they weren't consulted on this and it's all been done without their sort of input, I'm guessing. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of reaction to that meeting there. And it'd be interesting to say what some of the alpha males like Rory, I'm not sure whether John Rahm's playing or not, but some of the big names, Rory's definitely there. So I'm sure he's going to have so many reporters all over him, isn't he? So what else does it say here? Today is a momentous day for your organisation and the game of golf as a whole. Through a framework agreement, the Public Investment Fund contributing its golf-related commercial business and rights, including LIV Golf, along with a significant financial investment towards minority equity ownership of a new collectively held for-profit LLC. This new entity, named to be disclosed, will also include the PGA Tour's commercial businesses and rights, as well as those of the DP World Tour. So yeah, if there was any kind of ambiguity as to whether, this new tour is going to be all-encompassing, it says it clearly there that, the Asian Tour, the DP World Tour, the LIV Tour, and the PGA Tour are all going to be part of this new entity that is now backed by the Public Investment Fund. So I think that's the big sort of elephant in the room here, isn't it? It's how the golf fans are going to initially react to this news. How many of them are actually going to stick to their principles on why they would not have anything to do with LIV Golf, i.e. the source of the money, and now will equally have nothing to do with this new PGA Tour, hybrid tour, whatever it's going to be called, because it is funded by the same people. The golf journalists who, have really been vocal about it. So, in particular, Chambly and Lynch that we talked about before. I just don't see how they can continue because, everything that they were against with the LIV Tour is now embraced in with the PGA Tour. What's the schedule going to look like? How many events are there going to be on each tour? When are they going to be within the season? Are the teams going to be shook up because PGA Tour members or DP World Tour members can now go and freely play in a live golf event? Maybe the live golf teams will be 3 players, and you're allowed to draft in a player for each event, and you could draft in another live golfer, or you could bring in a ringer from the PGA Tour if he's got a free week that week and it fits within his schedule. Maybe a team could bring in a Scotty Scheffler or a Xander Schauffele or a Rory McIlroy or a Jon Rahm for that one live event, where they can have a go at winning, significantly more money than what they can get on the PGA Tour. Or will that be the case? With now the funding from the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, are the purses on the PGA Tour now going to be very similar to the huge purses on the Live Golf Tour? I mean, there's just so many questions that we just don't know the answers to. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all pans out. This player meeting today is going to be pretty explosive, I'm sure. So that's going to be 4 p.m. They're in Toronto, aren't they? So I would imagine that's probably about a 6-hour time difference to where I am. So that's going to be 10 o'clock tonight for me. So yeah, I'm probably going to stay up tonight and have a look and see what the result of this meeting is, and also see some more interviews with players, and also some reaction from all the journalists. There's so many. There's the guys from No Laying Up podcast, an absolutely fantastic podcast. Those guys they're great at what they do, but they've been vehemently against Live. And now, how are they going to react? What are they going to say about this? There's so many people. Paul McGinley on the European side has been very vocal against Live, and the European Live golfers. How are those relationships going to move forward now? How long is it going to take for them to be mended? Are they ever going to be mended? It's just so interesting to see how this is going to all pan out. And I don't think anybody saw this coming today. No one could have even... When I saw this break, and I actually got a text message from a friend, I just thought, it can't be true. There's no way that that's happened. But then it slowly dawned on me that it was happening, and it had actually happened. And it's just the biggest sports story that I can ever remember. I can't remember another sports story on this scale that was such a shock and something that you just weren't expecting whatsoever. But I'm going to end, this podcast, this second part. I've had to do it in 2 parts because I lost the feed halfway through on the first part. So if you missed that, you can go and watch that as well. But, I'm going to end with what I started with. Regardless of what side of the divide you were on, regardless of what your feelings were towards Live and the source of the money, or, whether you were on the other side and you didn't like the way the PGA Tour reacted to Live and, the very strong tactics that they embrace, whatever your side of this argument was, today's news is good for the game of golf, and it's good for us, the golf fans. The situation that we've been in for the last 2 years is not being good for anyone, really. And the fact that it's now, this fractured golf world has now been mended. Obviously, we're going to wait and see how this new world is going to look. But without doubt, today's news is good news for sure, because we couldn't carry on the way we were going. It was so divisive. It was so bitter. It was causing... I've been on forums, golf forums, and any kind of discussion between, or any kind of topic between Live and the PGA Tour, that thread was absolutely toxic. It was bringing out the worst in people. I was at my golf club and I was having a beer after a round on the on the patio outside the clubhouse overlooking the 18th green. It was a lovely sunny night, and I just made a comment saying that I'd watched the Live event, and a member who I don't know, who overheard, turned round and gave me a volley of abuse, saying that I should be ashamed of myself, and started ripping into Cam Smith. I'm just like, what the hell? It was just like, it just caused this divide just caused such strong feelings on both sides. And both of those strong feelings are going to take a little bit of time to mend, but they will mend, and the golf world is going to be what's happened today. So, please, after I finish this stream, you'll be able to watch it. Obviously this is live, but you'll be able to watch it after we've stopped the live feed. Continue to get into the comments. I'll reply to as many as I can. Let me know, what your thoughts are. Do you agree with me? Do you think that this is a good day for golf, or do you think that, actually, no, this isn't a good day? Some people would say that, it's a very bad day because Saudi Arabia bought the game of golf today. And, there's an element of truth to that, I suppose. But I just think the fact that all of the professional game and players are all going to be brought back together so they can all compete and play against each other again is ultimately going to be a good thing for the game of golf. Okay, that's it. Like I say, this was a completely unplanned podcast. I literally got home from work,